Yeah, so we're kind of what I did with them is that I wanted to use it No, I didn't get on. When is your mom coming? Friday? This is Friday? Huh? What about it? She said she could do it. Oh. So the end of it. You know what I could do is she said she's gonna drop off the one that she bought. So I mean, I'll leave the parking for her. So I'm gonna I'll text you. I think I have your
Hi, darling.
morning. I'm glad you ate some of that soup. I got tired of eating that soup.
Yeah, Connor.
Okay. Oh my God. Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, Reverend, you time to go back to the he had two left. And then I thought I sent Reverend Hayashi stuff last week, but I didn't. Oh. Every single Reverend sent all of it. The only ones that could respond on my phone, but I think he probably thought it was well, but I think he thought it was probably for the chest. Oh. And then Reverend said, but I heard it was oh. But yeah, we had a great, we had a I like your answer to being a bishop. Yeah. There's personal questions and then there's questions One of the questions she responded and see Reverend Rye was like, Reverend Rye, Reverend Gibbs, Reverend Seki, Reverend Takata, our pastors at Reverend. No, the darkness side. Oh, so they made posters with their pictures. And then I thought I sent Reverend Hayashi, but I didn't. There's one child who doesn't have a but they'll get. Oh, turn to down. We have the display. We have that door prize wrapping. Yeah, but I don't think you put it on there. It wasn't on there last
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to our Bodhi Day service. It's good to see everyone on this chilly Sunday morning. Today we're gathered to observe Bodhi Day. It was on December 8th when Siddhartha Gautama attained enlightenment while sitting under the Bodhi tree. So we will begin our service. With before I even get there, I have to announce that our guest speaker today was going to be Reverend Brian Nagata, but he is unable to join us due to an unfortunate illness, and he called in sick this morning. So we wish him a fast recovery, and we hope that we can call on him to come be our guest speaker next year. Okay, so we'll start with our service this morning with the Sambujo. Please join Reverend Shabbat in the chanting. It can be found on the inside cover of the service book, and it will be followed by the Hill Delphamon or the dedication of today's service.
We are gathered here this morning to commemorate the Day of Enlightenment of Siddhartha Gautama, which took place on the morning of December 8th, over 2,500 years ago in India. Along with the rising of the morning star, he became the Buddha, the fully awakened one. As we observe this very auspicious occasion, may we learn from the content of his enlightenment and begin to live each day fully, humbly, and gratefully. Sishoyi and Vasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda. Namanda.
We'll now have our Jatha Hotakesama, which can be found in your program or on page 174 of the service book. And it will be followed by 3 treasures. At this time, I'd like to introduce Kimi and Mei, who are assisting Reverend Shibata in establishing our choir, and who will lead us in today's dava. So please rise if you're able.
Three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony and a spirit of universal brotherhood, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Nene and Kimi. That was wonderful. We look forward to the choir in upcoming months. And we'll now have feature chanting Jise Gift in the service book, page 94, and it's also included in this program.
sai đồ hồn cô đại sinh
We'll now have incense offering by the following representatives. Dharma School student James Naishi. Okay, that was just Dharma School teacher Mike Shibata. Sangha Club Carter Uemura. Young Buddhist Association, Emily Wong. Young Adult Buddhist Association, Dr. Alan Kawaguchi. Youth Athletic Organization, Derek Uemura. Stepping in for Derek is Nisa. Adult Buddhist Association, Dolores Matsumura. Tomono Kai, Wayne Morisaki. Stockton Bukio Taiko, Chris Kubo. Stockton Buddhist Women's Association, Vivian Fuji. Cortez Holokai Dan Kugel. And the Buddhist Church of Stockton, Candy Hayashi. Thank you, everyone. I'll now ask Reverend Shibata to please come up and give our Dharma School message.
Good morning, everybody. So unfortunately, as it was mentioned, Reverend Brian texted me this morning, and unfortunately, he's very, very ill. So you're stuck with me today. But it's a pleasure for me to be with you, of course, for this very auspicious occasion of Bodhi Day. And I really want to express, hopefully, Reverend Brian, if you might be watching or tuning in, we hope that you feel better, and we do look forward to inviting him back to Stockton, hopefully once he's feeling better, and maybe sometime in the new year. So what I wanted to do today was to actually share a message, and I'm getting a little bit of help from this particular book. And I don't know if I shared this before, but there are a few stories within this series, and this one is called "What Do You Do with an Idea?" And this is written by Kobe Yamada and illustrated by May Bisam. And so I'm going to relate this to this observation of Bodhi Day. So happy Bodhi Day to everybody. And again, when we think about this particular story, we can think about Prince Siddhartha's enlightenment and what he was as the Buddha for each and every one of us. So what do you do with an idea? One day I had an idea. Where did it come from? Why is it here? I wondered, what do you do with an idea? At first I didn't think much of it. It seemed kind of strange and fragile. I didn't know what to do with it, so I just walked away from it. I acted like it didn't belong to me. But it followed me. It looks like a little egg with feet and a crown. I wondered what others would think. What would people say about my idea? I kept it to myself. I hid it away and didn't think about it. I tried to act like everything was the same as it was before my idea showed up. But there was something magical about my idea. I had to admit, I felt better and happier when it was around. It wanted food. It wanted to play. Actually, it wanted a lot of attention. It grew bigger, and we became friends. He put it in his backpack. I showed it to other people, and even though I was afraid of what they would say, I was afraid that if people saw it, they would laugh at it. I was afraid they would think it was silly, and many of them did. They said it was no good. They said it was too weird. They said it was a waste of time, and that it would never become anything. And at first I believed them. I actually thought about giving up on my idea. I almost listened to them. But then I realized, what do they really know? This is my idea, I thought. No one knows it like I do. And it's okay if it's different and weird and maybe a little crazy. I decided to protect it, to care for it. I fed it good food. I worked with it, I played with it, but most of all, I gave it my attention. My idea grew and grew, and so did my love for it. I built it a new house, one with an open roof, where it could look up at the stars, a place where it could be safe to dream. I like being with my idea. It made me feel more alive, but that I could do anything. It encouraged me to think big and then to think bigger. It shared its secrets with me. It showed me how to walk on my hands because it said, it is good to have the ability to see things differently. I couldn't imagine my life without it. And did you notice? Before the pictures were just kind of muted colors, but look how beautiful and bright the colors are now. Then one day something amazing happened. My idea changed right before my eyes. It spread its wings, took flight, and burst into the sky. I didn't know how to describe it, but it went from being here to being everywhere. It wasn't just a part of me anymore. It was now a part of everything. And then I realized what you do with an idea, you change the world. So wasn't that a lovely book? And there's also books within the series about what do you do with a question or other ones. So if you like this one, check out the other books in this series. And so I would want to bring this book to everybody's attention and really think about the way in which Buddhism is a part of our lives. Because of the enlightenment of Prince Siddhartha, who would later become the Buddha. So at first, did you know that after the Buddha attained enlightenment, he kept everything, all of the insights that he had come to know, to himself? He wasn't really sure how people would really respond to those ideas that he had. And so he kind of sat under the Bodhi tree a little bit longer and just really thought upon this idea, his new ideas, to be shared with the people of India. So fortunately for all of us, he did take this chance and believed in his ideas and went out to go see first some of his teachers. And unfortunately, some of his teachers had gotten a little bit older, or they had already passed away. And then he encountered other folks along the way who he wanted to share his ideas with. And he eventually came across the five additional disciples that he was initially studying with. And at first, they actually turned their backs away from him, just like this young boy. People initially turned their backs from him too on his idea because they were suspicious. Because he had left all of these very strict practices that they were performing, and the Buddha decided to go on his own way. And he really wanted to see what was the cause of our suffering and answers to some of life's questions. But they then realized this kind of look on the Buddha, this radiance that was coming from the Buddha's face and Buddha's body. And then they requested to have the Buddha teach them what he had learned. And these are wonderful, wonderful life lessons of the middle way and the cause of suffering and how we can alleviate our suffering in our lifetime too, and how we can be a little bit more aware of that and aware of other people's suffering so that we can live a life of gratitude. And can you imagine if you had a good idea, if somebody told you that that wasn't a good idea and how maybe hurtful that could be? So what we want to do is to be able to support one another with beautiful ideas and think about how our wonderful ideas, just like the Buddha, just like this young person, shared their ideas and how they became very passionate about those ideas, and eventually how they changed the world. And ultimately, too, for each and every one of us as Buddhist practitioners and followers, as we walk on this Dharma path together, that we're able to encounter the many teachings of the Buddha and really live our lives in this way with deep gratitude and awareness of ourselves and others. So go ahead with those big, beautiful ideas that you have and share them with others and see how your world and the world around you can change as well. Okay, so please check out this book if you'd like to look at it, and as I said, go out in the world and spread those beautiful ideas that you have. Okay. Please join me in Gasho to conclude my message. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Reverend Candace. Please rise if you're able for the reading of our pledge, which can be found on the inside back cover of the service book.
Our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I will share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha, not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance. I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Next, we'll have installation of officers, and I will ask Kathy Kokorova to come up and help me with that part of the program. Okay, while we're getting everyone set up or everything set up, I would like to ask everyone who gets called to come up. You'll be getting a candle from Sensei, and you will hold on to it, and then when the next person comes up, you'll pass it on to that person. If you're the last person in that organization, then you will put it on the candle on the candle holder. And then the next association, the first person will come and get another candle from Sensei and so forth. Then after we're finished, and then when your group is finished, don't go sit down. Stay up here, and then you'll gather around and take a pledge from Sensei and get your picture taken, I believe. Okay? All right. Okay, so for the Executive Committee of the Board of Directors, President Debbie Nakati. Vice President of Membership, Kathy Fujimori. Vice President of Religious Education, Candy Hayashi. Vice President of Social Services, Ruby Kato. Vice President of Finance, Peggy Takahashi. Vice President of Special Events, Darlene Bradshaw. Next, we'll have the Stockton Buddhist Women's Association Executive Council, Vivian Fuji. Kathy Fujimori. And Sachi Enokida. Vice President Ruby Kato. Recording Secretary Mike Shibata. Corresponding Secretary Janet Sterling. Treasurer Kay Freeman. And Co-Treasurer May Saiki. Adult Buddhist Association President Dolores Matamura. Vice President Mabel Morodoni. Recording Secretary Mike Shibata. Corresponding Secretary Barbara Ueda. Treasurer Peggy Takahashi. Young Adult Buddhist Association President Linda Kawaguchi. Vice President Alan Kawaguchi. Recording Secretary Mike Shibata. Corresponding Secretary Karen Shimozaki. Treasurer Tiffany Shibata. And Historian Fred Pogoroba. Okay, Tomonokai, President Wayne Morisaki. Corresponding Secretary Margaret Kawai. Treasurer Peggy Takahashi. Stockton Bukyo Taiko, President Chris Kubo. Vice President and Artistic Director Kyono Kishi. Vice President and Lead Coordinator Rob Womack. Secretary Susan Blooming. Treasurer Mari Arcoleo. historian, and Fukumoto. Okay, if anyone would gather around.
Please join me by placing your palms together in Gashel and repeat after me. I take office in and name your organization. Aware that it will require a commitment of time and effort. I will do my best to lead through both action and direction, using the Buddha Dharma as my guide. I affirm this pledge by taking refuge in the three treasures. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Will you put your palms together to congratulate the newly installed?
You guys are about the same.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you for all your help and service in advance. Announcements. Our New Year's Eve service is on December 31st at 4 p.m. and our New Year's service is at 11 a.m. No service will be held on December 17th and the 24th due to the winter break. Reverend Shibata's book club will meet via Zoom on December 27th at 6:30 p.m. Save this date, January 13th, is our annual crab feed, $75 for adults. Please see the Karma for the details. Reservations were open, or will be open, or were open on December the 1st. Donations for the raffle are gladly accepted. Yaba is having a chili over rice fundraiser on February 4th from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. For a donation of $10. Quantities are limited, so please pre-order as soon as possible. Tickets are on sale now in the foyer or from a Yaba member. Do you love to sing? Is singing a hidden talent that you would like to share with the Sangha? If so, we welcome singers of all abilities to join our temple's new endeavor of starting a choir. It is Reverend Candace's wish to have a choir to support our gathas during our Sunday services and to help introduce new gathas in our newly dedicated gatha book. Again, singers of all ages and abilities are welcome. Please leave your name and contact information on the sign-up sheet in the foyer. And you got to meet Kimi and Mei today, and they will be helping Reverend Candace form and lead this choir. So if you love to sing, sign up please. Don't forget to support our temple. Please order your gift cards through the temple office. Sangha Club is continuing to collect aluminum cans and recyclable plastic bottles. Donations may be left in the white bin under the carport. Help keep recyclable bottles and cans out of our landfills while supporting one of our youth organizations. And today is Bodhi Day, and as such, the Dharma School is hosting a luncheon. So please, please head over to the gym after our service to view the students' displays. And there's always a raffle and lots of fun and lots of good food. So are there any other announcements?
Hello again, everybody. So as Debbie had mentioned, we're establishing our choir, and you got a little preview of what my intention is in starting our choir. And with Mene and Kimi's help, we'll be having our first practice on January 14th. And this will be after class, so that if you have any young students, any students for that matter, would like to join us, we'll be meeting immediately after Dharma School. So 11:15, maybe until 11:45 or so. I understand that the teachers are meeting, but hopefully those of you that are able to come can come right after, and then possibly join the coffee social. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I think I removed the sign-up sheet, but if you do want to join us, please come to me and I'll be happy to take your name and your information so that we can contact you regarding upcoming practices. So again, our first practice will be January 14th after service at 11:15 here in the temple. Okay. I have another announcement. I completely forgot. Oh, regarding the script. So if you're interested in purchasing any cards, gift cards that we might have on hand, I'd be happy to bring them into the gym so that you can look through the gift cards that we do have on hand, and you can purchase them and take those home with you today, so that if you need any gift cards for the holiday season, you'll be supporting the temple, and then it'll save you one last trip to wherever you need to go to get your gift cards. So please look for me, and I'll maybe have a little setup to sell those this later on this afternoon. Okay, thanks so much, everybody.
If there aren't any other announcements, the Dharma School students through 6th grade are dismissed to their classes. The rest of you can stay here in the Hondo and listen to Reverend Candace's message. And if you haven't already, Oshoko, please come up and offer incense before leaving the Hondo. Thank you.
Watch out, watch where you're going. Excuse me. We both need to.
No. Okay. Yeah.
The donation.
Okay, for sure. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody, once again, and thank you so much for joining us for today's Bodhi Day service. And for me, Bodhi Day, growing up here, was always an exciting service because we were able to display our projects when we were little in Dharma school, and of course to enjoy the luncheon and the raffle. And who doesn't like a raffle? So I'm so glad that all of you are able to be here today to support the children in their activities and also enjoying fellowship afterwards. And again, we do wish Reverend Brian Agata well in a speedy recovery and hope again that he can join us hopefully next year. So to begin my message, I'd like to start with a few thoughts. Will you please join me in question? I have appeared in this world and expounding the teaching of the way, seeking to save the multitude of living beings by bestowing upon them the benefit that is true and real. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. No. Okay, so as I was mentioning, hopefully you enjoyed the children's book as much as I enjoyed sharing it. And initially, again, when the Buddha had attained enlightenment, he did sit for a little bit of time. Just like that little boy, kind of unsure. Will anybody or will folks really be able to grasp the teachings that I have encountered? And so he sat and continued to sit under the Bodhi tree after enlightenment. And again, really wanted to share his insight with his beloved teachers that he had encountered beforehand, but they had either passed away or had gotten old. And so wanted to continue to seek individuals who would be interested in listening to his ideas and his thoughts regarding insight that he attained through his meditation process. And so again, he did continue down to then meet his 5 former companions. And these were individuals who he had shared years of very hard and very austere practices, such as meditating for long periods of time or not eating, not moving from meditation practice. And first, again, they were suspicious of the Buddha, thinking that he had given up those practices and given up his search for the truth, when he did, in fact, say that maybe this way isn't really working for me. But again, upon seeing the radiance of the Buddha, they then requested him to teach what he had learned. And this then became the first turning of the Dharma wheel, as the sutra is called. And this was the first sermon with his first Sangha, first set of Sangha members, just 5 individuals who were his Sangha members that he had shared his thoughts with. And some of these initial thoughts, again, are very core principle teachings of our Buddhist practices, first being the middle way. And as I was mentioning last Sunday too, when we think about these practices, like the middle way, we can really look at the Buddha's life as the prince living in the castle or the palace, being very fortunate to live in a life of luxury. But then on the other extreme, leaving that life of luxury to then seek the way of truth. And with that practice, then giving up many, many luxurious things and even things such as food and water, and realizing, again, that the middle way is the way in which to have a little bit more awareness and clarity. And of course, within this teaching, these first teachings, is the Four Noble Truths, which we know is regarding suffering in our lives. That in fact we do encounter suffering, and the suffering can come in a wide variety of different ways. And what is the cause of that suffering, which includes our own greed and anger and ignorance. And luckily that there is a way in which we can be free from these sufferings. And this includes the Noble Eightfold Path. And so again, many of these core teachings continue to resonate with us, hopefully resonate with us in our everyday lives. And so you might be wondering, and I did touch upon this a little bit ago, I believe it was last week, not knowing that I would have to speak on Bodhi Day yet again, but wanted to share, again, the reason for Shakyamuni Buddha's appearance in this world. And my Gosande, or opening meditation, is reflecting that. Why was Shakyamuni Buddha so important to appear in this world more than 2,500 years ago? And I had mentioned that the Buddha had appeared in this world seeking to save the multitude of living beings by bestowing upon them the benefit that is true and real. And what is that benefit that is true and real? And so when we think about, again, the importance of Shakyamuni Buddha in our lives, we as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists really think about Amida Buddha. We think about Amida Buddha's primal vow to save all sentient beings from our suffering. And because of the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha, that we are able to be freed from our suffering and sorrow and to attain enlightenment because of his loving wisdom and compassion. And so, again, this is a small quiz for each and every one of you. Of course, we know where Amida Buddha is, but where is Shakyamuni Buddha? Again, since this is Bodhi Day, where is Shakyamuni Buddha on our altar? And so we had many beautiful replies from our students that were very moving. Shakyamuni Buddha may not have a scroll or an image on the altar itself. However, we can find Shakyamuni Buddha within the sutras. So within the sutras that we chant every Sunday, within our hearts and minds, and of course, even within the 3 Pure Land Sutras, which are these scrolls that are up on the ceremonial dais called the Ramban. So Shakyamuni Buddha can be seen in various aspects of our lives, especially within the written word of Shakyamuni Buddha that we do chant. And when we do chant so beautifully together, this is a way in which we express this gratitude that we have for these teachings, the various teachings, that hopefully can provide a lot of awakening, a lot of awareness within our lives, again, of what is true and real. And so when we were asked, and a lot of my sermon today is regarding this discussion of the larger sutra, one of the sutras of the Buddha. And we were so fortunate as ministers to go to ministers' continuing education. And we did speak at length regarding the larger sutra. And so when we were quizzed, why is there no Shakyamuni Buddha on the altar? Other responses included, well, we we see Shakyamuni Buddha in the offerings of rice that we have. The two up on the higher table, as we offer two, this is what another minister had heard. We offer two offerings of rice, one for Shakyamuni Buddha and one for Amida Buddha. So I thought that was very clever. And our own bishop, Reverend Harada, said Amida Buddha is also is a timeless Buddha, and Shakyamuni Buddha is also present in the altar. And another minister from Higashi Honranji said, well, our practice of Amida Buddha, of saying the name of Namo Amida Butsu, is encompassing the workings of Shakyamuni Buddha as well. And so there was a lovely thing that Brahma Kuwahara had shared. And I think I had shared this before. So when we think about the Four Noble Truths as being one of the first teachings of the Buddha, we can look at the Four Noble Truths, and I've shared this before, as a prescription of the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, for each and every one of us. So when we go to general doctor, we can think of Shakyamuni Buddha as a general doctor. So we would go to the doctor and we would say, oh, my arm is hurting me, and I'm not really sure why that is. So the general doctor will maybe assess the situation, tell us that he or she or they might think that, oh, it might be this particular problem or this particular ailment. So let's go ahead and give you medication for that. And what kind of medication will kind of determine the outcome. And all of that corresponds with the first, second, third, and fourth noble truth. And so this general doctor, again, is Shakyamuni Buddha. And so when we think about this general doctor, maybe sometimes they might need a specialist. And so that specialist who Shakyamuni Buddha sends us to is Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha will then say too, well, to free you from all of your sufferings, I have this wonderful prescription as well. It's this wisdom and compassion that I want to share with each and every one of you, so that you too can live a life of humility and gratitude, and that you too will encourage others to walk along this path, to be freed from your illnesses or your ailments. And so I actually did have a particular arm pain, so that was actually something from my own life that developed, I believe, more than 10 years ago. So unfortunately, I was experiencing a lot of pain within these two fingers, running down the whole length of my arm, especially within this area as well. So more than 10 years ago, I think I went to Okankaiser in 2012, saying to my general doctor, this is what's going on, and it's so painful. And even if you touch the pinky of the tip of my pinky, it's very, very painful. And so what do I do? And it would come and go. Certain things would maybe aggravate this particular pain. And she said, well, I think it might be a particular nerve, but I'm not really sure. I can't really pinpoint it. But why don't you try a little bit of ibuprofen or Tylenol to help ease that pain. And that did eventually do the trick. However, more recently, the pain was so excruciating. I would be woken up in the middle of my sleep because the pain was so terrible. So then I went to my general practitioner in Sacramento and I said, hey, this is the ailment that I have. Is there anything else we can do? And so she said, well, I think I do agree with your first doctor back in 2012 to continue to take ibuprofen or something to help alleviate the pain. But maybe we should get down to the source of that pain. So I'm actually going to refer you to a specialist. And that specialist is going to do a nerve study on your hand and on your arm. So I had been to a neurospecialist before because of carpal tunnel, so I had an idea of what would happen. But basically, they send like little, it seems like little shock waves connected to different parts of your nerve. And I guess there's a very long ulnar nerve that can get aggravated. And so this specialist did do a number of different tests on my arm, and my arm was moving very crazily, just when she would push the buttons, it would move. Luckily, I don't have any nerve damage, but she did prescribe another prescription of this, it looks like a water ring. So when you're learning how to swim and you have a little water ring on to kind of help keep you afloat, that's what they had given me to be able to keep my arm pretty straight while I'm sleeping. And so I did try that for a few nights, and it's rather uncomfortable to have to sleep with this big water ring on, and it's really to ensure that patients don't pull out their IV. So it's very big, like this big. But then again, I have to be very mindful of my movements. And part of those movements that keeps my arms bent like this quite frequently, of course, is doing computer work. And I even read that those of you who might have your window down and you're sitting outside your window like this, many people who sit outside their window with their arm out the window can develop a little bit of nerve pain too. But I did tell her, because she asked me, what has been a major change in your life within the last 10 years? And I wish I had it with me today, but up on the altar to show you, but it's all of this. Do you know what this is? My cell phone, and playing all of my games, and looking at my emails and my social media, mindlessly scrolling and utilizing my time not very efficiently because I'm kind of dozing out and just keeping myself company in this way. And so when we think about those types of things, how many of you find yourself doing that too with your cell phones? Are you on your cell phones kind of looking at YouTube or social media, certain things, watching videos, maybe playing video games? And so I was thinking about that. And thinking about the way in which maybe Shakyamuni Buddha and Amida Buddha are asking us to disconnect so that we can connect. Because how often do we utilize our cell phones in the presence of our friends and family? We're not mindful of their presence, and we're not mindful of how precious this time really is with them. How often do we maybe check out and just play our video games, not encountering the world outside or all of the beautiful things that we're able to encounter in our lives? And sometimes I understand that maybe we do need just time to zone out after a busy day, but how much literal pain is that causing in our lives of not being connected, because we are so disconnected from each and every one of us who surround our lives and bring a lot of beauty to our lives too. And so I think with all of this in mind, maybe what we can do to alleviate some of our pain is to, one, understand the cause of that pain, like I did when I went to the doctor. And probably a lot of that literal pain that I have is through my cell phone. So I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful. And I really want to tie this in again with our story. And this young individual in the storybook said, my idea was big. It was big, and all I had to do was to take care of it, to allow it to grow. And even Dr. Kenneth Tanaka talks about having a big life. And this is B-I-I-G. So you might be thinking, hey, Dr. Tanaka, actually big is spelled B-I-G. However, Reverend Tanaka reminds us that of these 4 marks of existence as human beings. And he noticed that maybe acronyms kind of help us. So let's think of living our big lives as B-I-I-G, to understand that life is a bumpy road. So that's the B. Life is a bumpy road. But however, life is also impermanent. I, the first I. But life is also interdependent as well. All of these, another I, all of these different connections that we have of seen and unseen conditions and people in our lives, and how we really should be aware of that because we understand that life is impermanent. And the final letter in the acronym comes from good. Life is fundamentally good. And so when we think about having a BIIG, big life, I think we're able to really understand, again, how fortunate we are to be able to live this one and only life that we have. And if we do have bumps in the road, as Reverend Tanaka was saying, we could utilize the prescription of Shakyamuni Buddha, the prescription of Amida Buddha as our specialist, and again, as our general doctor, as Shakyamuni Buddha is our general doctor, and utilize this prescription for life to really look at our lives, look at maybe the ideas that we can share with one another to make our lives maybe a little less suffering filled, or a little less lonely, a little less sad, so that we can come together to be able to really live this one and only life with harmony and peace, and gratitude and happiness. And so I hope again that we think about all of these benefits that we do have, being able to encounter the true and real teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha and Amida Buddha, and to live our big lives as gratefully as we can. So thank you again for allowing me to share my very rambling thoughts as I was trying to put all of this together this morning. But I appreciate the opportunity to share just my deep appreciation of Shakyamuni Buddha's appearance in this world, and how we can relate that this individual's life and teachings, although he lived more than 2,500 years ago, how relevant it is today, so that we can maybe disconnect from our cell phones to truly connect with one another. So please, we welcome you to stay to continue with the celebration of Bodhi Day, and of course with fellowship with our dear Sangha members, and to also really support the children in their Bodhi Day projects. So thank you again for joining us today. It's so wonderful to see so many of you out in the Sangha today. And please join me in Gangsho for this final thought. I've appeared in this world and expounding the teaching of the way, seeking to save the multitude of living beings by bestowing upon them the benefit that is true and real. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. So before we conclude, we wanted to just give additional announcements. Looks like Darlene has.
So just a reminder, there's an invite from the Dharma School to please join us in the reception room and the gym. If you go in the gym doors, turn right, please, and view the students' projects. They spend a lot of time making it here on those projects. And I got a plug for my class. We have a thing called Adopt a Reverend. And they actually go to the BCA directory, and I asked them to choose a place where they might want to travel to, they might want to go to college, or they might want to live someday. So you have, if you remember, if you've been around, Reverend Ryan is now serving New York. And he watches over Ekoji, also supervising minister for Ekoji. So if you can imagine New York to Virginia, and you know, we think it's tough going to Clearwater, right? So, oh, and New Jersey, he's got sleeper too? Oh my gosh, busy guy. He responded, actually every reverend that we asked responded. Reverend Gibbs was given 2. He caught COVID, so I just did a touch base, but he got better enough to respond. Reverend Hayashi, who used to be in Ekoji and now is serving in Tri-State Denver, he responded. Reverend Jay Shin Second, who sees Watsonville Salinas, he responded. I'm gonna forget one of them. And then I said, well, why stop there? So we asked our past ministers, right? Including Reverend Krishnoki, who was the supervising minister. They all responded. But I thought, why stop there? So we sent it to Bishop Harada and the prior Bishop Umezu. And Bishop Harada responded. I didn't think they would because they're so busy. So this is a meet and greet, and they just had 20 random questions they threw out some of these reverends, like who has the best French fries? Okay. And then they asked them tough questions. Why did you become a reverend? What did you have to do to become a reverend? And then one question was quite interesting and somebody answered, do you think you would serve as BCA bishop someday? So you might take a look and read those answers. So, and like I said, we were surprised. We've had struggled with this in the past, but we have really nice letters from many, many reverends. So I hope you take time. My class isn't the only one with projects. Even the little ones make stuff. So if you can take time, even if you're not going to stay for lunch, so please go read those. The second request I had was from, there's a team of members who are putting together our very first Japanese treasures boutique. So we are looking for any Japanese items that you no longer have use for, that you would like to donate to the church, and it will be sold at a vintage sale in March. So we have limited office hours. I believe it's Fridays from 8 to 4:30 right now? 9 to 4:30. And then, of course, when we're here for services, so if you're coming for New Year's Eve, that's okay, bring it with you, we'll take it. But anytime that you're here, if there's some Japanese treasure that you have at home that you really don't know what to do with and don't want anymore, then please consider donating to the church for the sale. And Ruby Kato, Beverly Hook that are here, I don't know if anybody, anybody else, I don't see anybody else on the committee right now, but they can answer your questions on the other side. Oh, Linda Kawaguchi. And I don't see anybody else. Oh, Marianne in the back. Thank you, thank you. So you have lots of people to ask questions for, so please ask them for details and please consider donating. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Darlene. So thank you again, everybody, for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. And we are so fortunate again to have this opportunity to have a nice fellowship and nice lunch. So if you didn't have an opportunity to offer incense before the start of the service, please come forward to do so. And then we'll see you in the gym. Okay, thanks, everybody.